Welcome to Peace Through Strength podcast, brought to you by the American Security Council Foundation. Today we're going to talk about an update on the Wagner Group and Blinken's visit down to Africa, where Russia's Wagner Group is trying to make inroads. And with me is senior analyst Lauren Sanford, who wrote the Wagner Group paper. Larry, your thoughts on Blinken's trip down to Africa to counter Russia's inroads?
Well, I think definitely the United States should get more involved in Africa, in Latin America for that matter. And it's not just a question of money. I think it's a question of presence. And also one of the things I think that is sadly lacking is our voice of America. Back in the old days of the Soviet Union, that was a powerful tool of corrupting within the Soviet Union how ridiculous their system was. And we should spend a lot more time and money promoting the voice of America throughout the world. In regards to Africa, in regards to the Wagner Group, they're all over the place. They're in Africa. Of course, they're a major force in the Ukraine war, and they're also now in South America. And for Blinken to go to Niger to help release a prisoner, he's been there for a number of years, I think it's terrific. And one of the things is we don't negotiate for hostages. A deal was done, and a deal has been done since the founding of America. I mean, the first war that America was involved in was against the Muslim in North Africa, and Marine Corps, from the halls of Montezuma to the shores of Tripoli, they were capturing American ships and holding them as slaves and hostages. And the U.S. was paying off some, but finally they got tired of paying them off, and they went in there and told them not to do it anymore. But there's still payoffs going on all along. So the U.S. has a history of paying off hostages, as every country in the world is one way or another paid off when you get into the hostage situation. I would say countries like Russia or China would probably say, if you don't give them back, we're going to kill you. But I'm not so sure that would fly in America. So,
well, thankfully, American hostage came home, and I believe a French as well was released.
They were there for years, too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So, but the Wagner Group is down there in Niger. They're down there in Democrat, what is it, Congo.
CAR, yeah.
Yeah, CAR. And Mozambique, and they're in Kenya. They're all over the place. And they're the tip of the Russian spear for diplomacy. And it's a relatively small, mercenary, ruthless group that comes in and just stirs up the pot. They're in Libya, and the Russians are able to get away with it because they say they're not part of our government. They're a private enterprise. They're doing their own thing, and they go into the CAR and they take over mines. They make a deal with the government. We'll take over the mines and we'll protect you from being overthrown.
They're offering protection, and I think we were discussing this with Alan Dowder before that, and you mentioned the Muslims, but the Islamic jihadists are very active in the Sahel area where Wagner Group is at. From my understanding, Niger, if I'm not saying it correctly, they do not want the Wagner Group in there. So Blinken's visit hopefully was to strengthen American in that Sahel region and counter the Russian Wagner Group.
But the French and Americans are both pulling out special forces, so there's
we're leaving a void.
There, so.
Well, thank you for your thoughts on that, and we'll see where it goes from there. But we are glad that hostages came home.
Yes.
So thank you all for listening to our brief today on our update today on the Wagner Group. You can read Larry's articles on www.ascf.us and subscribe to our newsletter, as well as follow us on Facebook and Twitter, and subscribe to our YouTube and Rumble channels. Thank you, Larry.
Thank you, Joy.
Thank you, everyone, for listening. Stay tuned again for more of Peace Through Strength podcast.